So I'm going to talk about global agricultural concept scheme, how we created it, and what we think it's good for, and where we still have issues that we need to resolve. Next.
Yeah, can you see?
Yes. So we started with 3 large thesauri in agriculture: the CAP thesaurus, the NAL thesaurus, and Agrivok, and they overlap a lot. For example, between the 3 of them, there are 3 URIs for the concept rice. Next. So we have Agrivok on the left, which with 32,000 concepts, the smallest of the 3, but with the most translated labels. So labels in over 25 languages. And then we have the CAP thesaurus with 140,000 concepts, and an NAL thesaurus with 53. Next. So we started in October 2014 by taking the 10,000 most used concepts from each thesaurus, because we noticed that in indexing practice, or indexing the bibliographic databases associated with these thesauri, that 10,000 concepts accounted for something like 98 or 99% estimated of the headings used for indexing bibliographic references. Next. And so we started to map them each other using automatic algorithms. Here we are in March 2015, and we can see this area of overlap, and we can see that there are areas that there are concepts that are in only 2 or 1 of the 3 thesauri. And then we have this category of awkwardly mapped clusters, which we called lumps. I'm going to talk about them a little bit further on. Next. So by October, here we are verifying. So we're verifying these mappings one by one. The thesaurus maintainers at the 3 organizations are going through spreadsheets and checking to make sure the mappings really are good. We're resolving these these lumps on teleconferences. Next. So here's an example lump. In this case, we have 6 concepts, and I won't go into the details, but you can see that the mappings that were calculated for these concepts and then checked by hand, they don't quite match. So next, we decided where to make the cuts. So we decided that there are some concepts that have to do with organisms, energy intake, and then some that have to do with natural resources, energy consumption. So we clarified that relation. Next. And then we use those concepts to create new concepts in GACS. Those are the 3 yellow ones in the middle. Next. So we have these 3 concepts in what we call GACS Core: energy intake, energy consumption, fuel consumption, and next. Those 3 concepts map back to the concepts in the source thesauri, NAL thesaurus, Agravoc, and Cap thesaurus. Next. So what we have by May of 2016, so we released GACS Core Beta with 15,000 concepts, 350,000 labels in 29 languages. We consider this to be reasonably stable. There are some outstanding quality issues, hierarchy, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And we're welcoming testing and feedback. And so you can see here the relative size of GACS Core with respect to the source thesauri. Okay, Agrisemantics. Agrisemantics is an idea that arose at a workshop in July of last year. The idea being that GACS would serve as a hub vocabulary or that would map to various types of other types of vocabulary. So yes, next. So GACS to Agrisemantics, and so map to code lists, map to taxonomies, map to other thesauri, and that some of these vocabularies would be located in the context of a shared infrastructure for Agrisemantics, and some of them would simply be on the web. Next. So, GACS in the context of Agrisemantics. The goal is better coherence, interoperability, discoverability of agricultural data for the benefit of farmers, researchers, and policymakers. So we see GACS as a hub for linking indexing thesauri, user-oriented thesauri, to domain ontologies that are semantically more precise. And in the context of a situation where domain ontologies are linked out to data sets about food and agriculture. Next. So we'd like to ask you to help us fix the hierarchy of GACS Beta, which is the biggest remaining task that we need to do in order to release GACS as 1.0. So GACS inherited broader and narrower relations from three sources, the three thesauri. The word for this is polyhierarchy. And some polyhierarchy is not a bad thing, but there is probably too much in GACS. So we want to clarify the situation. We want to fix it. And we posted a survey. And I'd like to ask you to please let us know what your use cases are for GACS, which of the three scenarios for structuring GACS makes the most sense to you. So let me just quickly go through them. Scenario A. So the idea would be that we'd only have, say, three top concepts, very broad. These top concepts would not be used for indexing, but would be there for the purposes of intellectual organization. And so you have here in the example, events in action, objects and properties, which are top properties in top concepts in the Finnish ontologies in the Finto project. Next, scenario B, using top concepts that function as types So this scenario is based on Agribook, which has top concepts like activities, entities, features, and so it provides a sort of typing mechanism to go down through the hierarchy. So we can see that under activities, we have plant breeding, fish culture, forestry, and hunting. And under phenomena, we have things like mortality, growth, and animal diseases. Next. And scenario C, the idea of having a shallow hierarchy, not worrying too much about top concepts, but providing a thematic classification. So, using thematic classes that would not be intended for indexing things like under general, we have research and methodology, physical sciences, we have physics and chemistry, earth sciences, geology and soil science, that sort of thing. So, in effect, the concept scheme would not have a small number of top concepts, but would have this thematic classification.